Greetings friends, Reformed Stoic here, back with another video for the first time in a while. We've been doing some music stuff on the channel. I am enjoying October. I don't want to give off the idea that I'm not in a good mood or anything, or that I'm in low spirits. Hopefully Rug doesn't make noise with that bag right now. But, you know, this is something that's been on my mind for a long time. And the topic of this video is falling out with your boomer family, or something along those lines. Yeah, Rug is distracting me going in the bag, but we will proceed. So I have a very large extended family. My mom comes from 2 sisters and 2 brothers, so 5 kids, and then my dad comes from 2 brothers, 3 sisters, family is 6 kids. Big families, and I always enjoyed family vacations. I think it's very common for upper middle class boomer families to take big vacations, you know, and the kids are excited and you get to go somewhere else for the summer, but ultimately your parents are taking a vacation and they're taking the kids with them. But I enjoyed vacations as a kid. I actually thought about making this video because I just made a post the other day about a movie that I was watching with my uncle, and we turned it off in the first 15-20 minutes or so because there was a sex scene. And he's like, oh, okay, well, I had a feeling maybe there was going to be a lot of sex in this movie. Let's watch something else. Because we'd rent like 5-6 movies at a time. That was pretty common when I was visiting my aunt and uncle. I loved going on family vacations. I loved visiting. I have a particular aunt and uncle in mind, and it's this uncle that story's from. Man, the cats are doing all kinds of stuff. It's a little distracting. Okay. So, I have this particular aunt and uncle in mind because it was very easy to make me happy on these trips. You know, they had a fridge in the garage, that in the freezer full of like ice cream bars and Snickers bars and ices and slushies and treats, and then in the fridge full of Cokes and Pepsis and Sprites and Capri Sun and just iced coffees and anything you could ask for, man. They had all the treats. They had a Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. Eventually they had a PS2, I think, or an Xbox. Renting tons of movies. I mean, that was pretty much it. It was just like spoiling their nieces and nephews. I was a pretty easy customer. But what happens is that you're a kid for a long time, and then all of a sudden in my early 20s, it's supposed to be that transition to becoming an adult, and it just kind of didn't really happen. That's the kind of stuff that gets discussed on this channel a lot. Didn't quite make that transition, and you know, discussions with extended family was always pretty just easygoing, you know, liking movies, and I was always the drummer. It's like, hey, how's drums going? You still banging on them bongos, kid? But then all of a sudden, life just started kind of getting hard, and I wasn't making some of these milestones. And you start having these discussions because, yeah, it was weird. There was a little bit of pressure to like drink. You know, they would like get me drunk. Especially, you know, they waited for me to turn 21. This is like when I'm 21, 22, 23. About the time I was moving to Vegas is when things got awkward. Yeah, I moved to Vegas summer 2014. I was playing in bands. That was kind of falling apart. I was getting ready to start this new leg in Vegas, which I think on some unconscious level I knew that was going to be not great. And it wasn't for a while. So yeah, they think it's all fun to get me drunk for the first time, and ooh, we're just gonna have such a great time. But then we start talking about life. Some of my like emerging political opinions started to come up, and talking about my struggles with women, talking about like how I couldn't graduate from school when I went the first time to music school. And this is like the first time we'd ever talked about anything serious, and then just out of nowhere, boom, I get some boomer opinion from my uncle for the first time. He said something along the lines of, well, shit, Jake, if you were my son, I would have never put you in that school. You'd be mowing lawns for the rest of your life, or you would have joined the military or something. He just like blurts out some boomer thing, and it's like, and I don't say it out loud, but I'm just thinking like, oh shit, I don't even really like know my uncle. I don't even really like know my aunt, because for the first time ever, at 23 years old, we're having serious discussions. And it's like, oh wow, I don't even really know these people. And then, as always, they'd rent the movies and they'd be like, oh, you're gonna love this movie. It's called, I don't even remember what this movie was called. Something about like a CGI pirate ship that went to space or something. I have no idea, bro. But all of a sudden, it's like, you know what? Like, that movie doesn't really sound like it would interest me too much. Because it got to a point, it was kind of like the Stan Marsh vision, that episode of South Park where like everything kind of seems like shit all of a sudden. And he starts drinking to cope with it. Yeah, I wasn't really interested in new movies anymore. And so my aunt and my uncle started thinking I was a bummer because of that. And then because of the things I was saying, it's like, it's not my aunt and uncle's job to entertain me, but it seems like it was my job to be happy. Like they're used to me being like, oh my gosh, aunt and uncle, and just being stoked about ice cream bars and Coca-Colas and movies and video games. But it got to a point where it's like, I need more than just ice cream bars and Coca-Colas and video games to be happy, and movies. It's like, man, I wanted to like get a degree and a career and a girlfriend, and I was trying to like pass these goals in life and make these milestones. And I've been pretty hard on myself, and other people have been hard on me. Like, I chose a bad lane in life, and that's part of the reason I wasn't making milestones. And obviously there are some people who are making it, but we're living in this time where a lot of men are not passing go. And ultimately what happened is a lot of what I just referenced, like getting drunk and having the uncomfortable, I'm not going to get into what political things I said, but I actually already kind of had some controversial opinions based off of experiences I was having living in the East Coast. I was meeting a lot of wealthy people over there. Maybe somebody can kind of get what I'm hinting at, but I'm not going to elaborate here. But I dropped some kind of controversial political opinions when I was drunk, and I talked about struggling with women, and I talked about not knowing what I'm going to do with my life. This was all like over the course of at most 2 different visits that were consecutive, but particularly there was one visit when I was in the process of getting ready to move to Vegas, and everything got pretty uncomfortable pretty quick, with mainly this aunt and uncle I'm referring to, but also echoing into my other extended family members. And then my mom's younger sister has like 5 kids, and they're all like radical leftists now. And basically, guys, I think we're about wrapping it up here, just about to the 10-minute mark. I feel like a little bit rusty as an orator. I need to get back into making consecutive videos again, but that's pretty much the idea of it. And I haven't really seen most of my family now since then, since like 2014. Like, I basically just disappeared. And then there's been this weird thing where that aunt and uncle that I'm referring to, this is on my dad's side. It's my dad's younger brother and his wife. They don't have any kids. They've been doing this passive aggressive thing where like they tell my dad like that they're upset that I don't talk to them anymore. Cause it went from like them basically being my favorite aunt and uncle, seeing them every single summer and being stoked and being happy and, ooh, can I have another Coke? Well, thank you, Auntie. Oh, can I have another ice cream bar? And then, you know, she's Italian and she's a great cook. I mean, I guess that doesn't necessarily mean she'd be a great cook, but, you know, she's a great cook and she's Italian and she makes lots of sausage and spaghetti and meatballs and, we had this, like, special bond when I was a kid, and then just out of nowhere, like, gosh, like, I can't get a girlfriend and girls don't like me. You know what she ended up saying to me when we were drinking? We were having what's that drink from that movie? The coffee and the vodka and the I can't. It's some sort of a coffee vodka drink, and it's in that movie with the dude, the Big Lebowski. Somebody will say it in the comments. I can't think of it right now. We were having those and getting drunk. And she's saying, you know what, Jake? I guarantee it. In like 6 months from now, you're going to meet a great woman, and she's going to be crazy about you, and you'll be engaged, and you're not even going to have to worry about it at all. Well, that was 2014, and more or less, I've only been on one date the entire time that went nowhere, didn't have any girlfriends since then, so, gee, I guess she couldn't have been more wrong, because it's almost 10 years later, and I'm on a dry spell from hell. So... I feel like I could have, like, done a little bit of a better job here. But that's basically the idea of it, guys, is this is kind of an extension. I've gotten a good response when I talk about boomers on my channel. And this idea that boomers are kind of aloof. Like, what's going on, bucko? You're afraid to roll up your sleeves? Like, I thought you'd have a career by now. And, you know, you gotta look the ladies right in the eye and give them a firm handshake. And come on, bucko, you're looking good. And it's like, yeah, but I'm baldied and I'm short. It's like, oh, you just shave the head, bucko. And 5'8", well, heck, that's nothing to shake a stick at there, bucko. Like, they have no idea. They have no idea. And, you know, I have very fond memories of, like, renting a bunch of movies and eating snacks, but for the record, I still enjoy movies from that time, the early 2000s. We were watching movies from the 90s and the early 2000s, and that's when movies were good. And then it got to a point where movies were crap. And that's another thing about boomers is they didn't seem to notice when movies started to suck. My freaking dad is like, we got the 3D glasses. You want to watch a 3D movie tonight? Whenever family visits over here, that will be a big thing. My dad's like, oh, I got a new 3D movie, and everybody's like, oh, 3D movie. You know, the kids are excited, and then my dad and the boomers are excited. Like, oh, yeah, heck, this is going to be a blast. And I'm like, you know, I think I'm just going to go. It's like, really? 3D movie? I got 3D glasses. I'm like, yeah, I just think I'm going to go. Tired. I don't care about 3D movies. I didn't care about any of the CGI crap that was coming out in like 2014, 2015, 2016. It all looks like crap to me. I haven't really talked to these guys in a while. Another kind of funny story is that uncle, he visited in Vegas one time after that. And oh my gosh, it was so awkward. And that time it was all my fault. It was all my fault. That's when I was into the occult. And I was like, hey, do you know anything about Pythagoras? Yeah, I've been reading a lot about Pythagoras. Is like, oh, okay, well, let's find something to watch. And he found some, like, Jackass ripoff on Netflix, and I was just sitting there acting like I was uninterested. I was a super edgelord, and I was reading a lot of books for the first time, and I was kind of being edgy and cringe about it, and I think I like creeped him out. He's like, wow, like my nephew's become like some weird loser who just like reads a bunch of books about Pythagoras and is making me really uncomfortable. So I'm sorry for that, uncle. That was my bad. But for the record, if there's any like extended family who have found my channel and you're like lurking around here, It's not anything personal. I feel like boomer is kind of like becoming a slur of some sort. I don't hate boomers. I don't hate my boomer extended family, but there was this bridge that was very quickly and abruptly crossed when, for the first time ever, I start speaking about problems because they're all excited to get me drunk. And I get drunk and it's like, yeah, like I can't get a girlfriend and I'm not graduating, and I feel like it's kind of bullshit that I couldn't graduate because my parents kind of just pulled the funding, and my parents threw me in a mental hospital over some bullshit, and I kind of feel like they stabbed me in the back, and I kind of feel sometimes like maybe my parents are like kind of narcissistic or something. Like, well, gosh, bucko, if you were my son, you'd be mowing lawns. I never put you in that school. You'd be going to military camp. And it's like, oh shit. My entire family are boomers, and like, wow. And I couldn't really see it back then like I see it now. But I guess we're getting kind of redundant and randy at this point. Basically, my family are boomers, and basically I liked them when I was kids, and then basically over the course of like one visit when I was moving to Vegas, it was like, holy crap, I don't have anything in common with my family. And they're all completely clueless. You're gonna be married this time 6 months from now. Not even close. Barely even had a single date since that happened. There was the girl that I got rug from. I did have a little fling with a girl that left her cat with me, who I love very much. The cat, not the girl. Yeah, so anybody else, like, not talk to your big, huge boomer family in a really long time because it's awkward, and, like, you know, when I was a kid, I played with Tinker Toys, and I memorized the Wizard of Oz word for word, and everybody thought I was this wonderful little kid, and then, like, when I was 17, things did start to kind of change by that time. I was, like, rapping and listening to death metal, and I'd say edgy things, like, my grandpa on my mom's side, my grandpapa, he had something called Haircut Sunday, and we were doing like a play reading. We do all these like quirky things, and he's introducing me to all his like old Haircut Sunday friends. He's like, yeah, Jake goes to music school. I was like, I play in a technical death metal band. Yeah, whatever. And like, I was just getting kind of edgy and angsty, and yeah, long story short, I haven't really talked to most of my family in like 10 years. So, hope that wasn't too awkward of a video. I feel like a little bit out of touch with my rant videos, so we'll get back into that. But let me know your stories about your boomer family in the comments. God bless you, my friends. That is it for now. Keep rocking with Smeartober. I'm watching lots of spooky shows. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Monsters. Good stuff. God bless, guys. Peace out.